All right, Spurs lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves, 112 to 125 points. And yeah, it was a weird game. Minnesota just out executed us down the stretch. They shot way better than us from three all game long, and that's kind of the story of our season. Is too many turnovers and bad 3-point defense is why we lose games. We'll get into the player stats and the team stats here in a second, but towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter, Minnesota knocked down 7 of 14, so they shot 50% from 3. In the fourth quarter, they knocked down 7 threes, so they scored 21 points just off of 3 balls in the fourth quarter. We scored 19 points in total as a team just in the fourth quarter, so they outscored us just with 3 balls in the fourth quarter and knocked down 7 of them. That's not the entire story of the game. Our 3-point defense was poor the entire game long, and our 3-point defense in the fourth quarter was really poor, especially. But we'll get to all that stuff here in a second. Here's just the lead tracker of the game in general. If you see in the first half here, this is the first quarter, second quarter. You see a lot of black for the Spurs. Minnesota, of course, is the blue right here. Here's a 10-point lead. So the Spurs, we were up 10 at one point in the first half there. Our biggest lead was 10 points right here. Then you move on. Here's the third quarter. Here's the fourth quarter. And we started the fourth quarter with the lead. We are actually up 10 points at one point in the third quarter, I believe. And then they just opened the floodgates on us. Chris Finch made an adjustment. I don't think he played Rudy Gobert at all in the fourth quarter, and he made better adjustments than Mitch Johnson was able to make. I think I said it earlier. They just had way better ball movement than we did on Minnesota. They had way more assists than we did as a team. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but even when we were moving the ball well and we get a shot for one of our shooters just weren't knocking down their open looks. I mean, it's all good. It just happens out there. But moving on, De'Aaron Fox leads us in scoring with 25. Anthony Edwards has the 32 for Minnesota. We'll get to the exact player stats in a second. But they score 125. We score 112. Rebound battle, they have 36. We have 33. Nothing crazy down there. We usually win the rebound battle, but we were missing Wembanyama. We were missing Stephon Castle. If we had Stephon Castle, he's not going to stop Anthony Edwards. No one is going to stop Anthony Edwards with how great he is, but Stephon Castle would have at least made life a little bit harder on him because Ant-Man had a great game. He killed us out there. The assist battle, this was probably the most glaring thing I noticed. We got just destroyed. They taught us a lesson in ball movement and team basketball. We had 17 assists. They had 35. They had 2 times as many assists as we did, plus 1 more assist. Just watching the game, their ball movement was way better than us all game long, and especially in the third quarter, fourth quarter. They just started swinging the ball all around. There were certain plays, we were double teaming Julius Randle, we were double teaming Anthony Edwards. We would double team them kind of in the dead corner. They'd manage to get the pass off, and before you know it, the ball swings all the way around to the other corner, and we weren't able to scramble and readjust and get back on defense to defend their 3-point shooters. And on the opposite side of things, you notice with Minnesota, their ball movement was just better than us all night long. But even on the plays where we did have ball movement, let's say there's one play and our ball movement is just as good as Minnesota's on any given play. Even on those plays, we're moving the ball very well around the perimeter. Defense was night and day. Minnesota's defense, they would scramble around. Even when we're making the right passes, we're moving the ball around the perimeter really quickly and efficiently. Naz Reid, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, everyone's just scrambling. They look so good as a team. Minnesota has such great chemistry as a team, and you notice the difference between a group of guys that have been playing together for a pretty long time versus us trying to find our chemistry, because there were so many plays where we actually did move the ball pretty decent on certain plays, but Minnesota just scramble, and even once the ball gets swung around to the corner or the wing, they're scrambling back, and we still don't have an open 3. We start moving the ball around again, and they're just scrambling. And then for us, when Minnesota would move the ball around, we're just not scrambling. We don't communicate on screens. There's a lot of times where we miscommunicate on switches and someone ends up with a wide open 3, a wide open roll to the rim. More often than not, it is the wide open 3. Our 3-point defense is my main complaint all season long. Our 3-point defense has been just horrible. One of the worst teams in the NBA at defending the 3 ball. But yeah, Minnesota destroys us in assists and their ball movement. We have 10 steals, they have 5, so we kill them on steals. We have 1 block, they have none. It's not really anything crazy. They have 12 turnovers. We only have 10 turnovers. I think the past 3 games, we had 8 turnovers last game. I think we had 9 turnovers the game before. We have 10 turnovers this game. Stephon Castle, I think he's averaging 4 turnovers per game or something like that. He was getting better and better at taking care of the ball, but since Stephon Castle has been out, our turnovers have been way down. Not to say our team is better without Stephon Castle, because we definitely aren't. We're going to be way better once Castle gets back. And once Castle gets back, he's going to have a healthy Dylan Harper, healthy De'Aaron Fox, and it's going to keep our turnovers down just as a team overall. And Stephon Castle is just going to thrive even more playing off ball, because Stephon Castle plays really well on ball, but he's just as good when he's playing off of the ball. They shoot 56% from the field. We shoot 52%. Not a huge difference. This is the real stat right here. We shot 24% from 3 again. Just absolute ass. Even when we were moving the ball around. Like I said earlier, Minnesota's just scrambling on defense. Even if we do end up with an open 3, all of our shooters were off from 3. We'll get into 3-point stats in a second, but I think we hit literally like 8 threes all game long. We were horrible from beyond the arc, and they shoot 46% from beyond the arc. We won like almost every single other category. It's crazy. You really do live and die by the 3 in today's NBA. We're 84% from free throw. They're 77%. So we beat them there. We have 58 points in the paint. They have 52. Not a huge difference, but we won there. Second chance points, they wrecked us there as well. We have 10. They have 18. They have about twice as many second chance points than we did, and all their second chance points, I feel like they all came from 3 balls. If you watch the game, it really felt like it. We have 10 fast break points. They have 7, so we barely beat them there. Nothing to note, but we did beat them on the fast break points. Moving on to the actual player stats. First thing I want to look at, here's our 3-pointers as a team. Yeah, we literally made 8 3-pointers all game long. Minnesota, they hit 7 3-pointers in the fourth quarter alone. So in the fourth quarter, they basically made as many threes as we made all game long. So needless to say, we were absolutely terrible from 3. We have a lot of good shooters. Again, if you watch the game, our ball movement just looked pretty bad out there in general. One more thing I want to check. Yeah, we had 8 threes. We made 8 out of 33. Minnesota made 17 out of 37. And that was pretty much the game right there. And then just their ball movement. They had 35 assists. We had 17 assists as a team again. So Minnesota, just them playing as a team, their ball movement led to more wide open threes than we were getting, obviously. And they just ran way higher quality offense than we did. And they played much better as a team. We just have to give Minnesota credit. We're terrible at guarding 3, and we're especially bad at guarding a 3 when the other team is really cohesive. They played together for a long time, and they have fucking Dante DiVincenzo, Anthony Edwards, Naj Reid, Julius Randle got in on the party. Just all their shooters were on fire. All of our shooters were very cold. But moving on to the team stats, Harrison Barnes, Julian Champagnie, they have 5 points each. Harrison's 1 for 4 from 3. Julian's 1 for 6 from 3. Man, Champagnie was minus 19 out there. Not going to blame Champagnie on the loss, but like I said, these are pretty much our 2 best shooters. And they shot 2 for 10 between them from 3. So just an off shooting night. It's not like they were missing a bunch of wide open looks. They had a couple open looks that they missed. I noticed Harrison and Champagnie, they weren't getting a lot of open threes in the corner. Minnesota did a great job. This is probably part of their game plan, but they ran pretty much all of our shooters off those corner 3 balls, because we love to shoot those open corner 3s. That's Champagnie's favorite spot. That's Harrison Barnes' favorite spot in the corner. And give Minnesota credit. They did a great job running our shooters off of the corner 3s, and they forced Harrison and Julian into a lot of straightaway 3s, a lot of wing 3s, and they can make those, but they can't make them as efficiently as the corner 3s, and they just weren't able to knock them down this game. Luke Cornett, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He has 1 block out there. Luke, he's really good when the other team is kind of undersized, but when Luke Cornett plays against, I noticed Kristaps Porzingis, Zach Edey when we played the Grizzlies, tonight playing Rudy Gobert. When Luke Cornett's playing against those bigger, really strong defensive-minded centers. He has some trouble out there, especially when they're better rebounders than Luke is. He doesn't have a humongous impact out there when he's playing against those larger, more defensive-minded centers. So, they kind of neutralize Luke Cornett out there. De'Aaron had a great game. He's 25 points, 10 for 15 from the field, amazing efficiency, 4 assists. He does have the 3 turnovers. De'Aaron was doing a great job just isolation basketball. He scored very efficiently for himself in the ISO. He did a great job playing pick and roll, pick and pop. Every time De'Aaron comes off of any screen action, the big man pops up and they try to double team De'Aaron and trap him at the top of the screen, because if you play drop coverage, he's going to get into an open three. He's going to get into an open mid-range shot. So they try to just trap him up top when he's coming off of those screens. The big man pops up and tries to trap De'Aaron Fox and get the ball out of his hands. There was a lot of plays this game where De'Aaron Fox just splits the double team, gets all the way to the rim for an easy layup finish, or he's able to kick it out to the corner or the wing for an open three. But again, Minnesota's strategy was just pretty much let De'Aaron Fox cook, let Devin Vassell cook, and try to take away our three-point shooting. And again, they just did a great job of doing that. De'Aaron Fox is very efficient. He only had the 4 assists. But it's not really De'Aaron Fox's fault. I can't say it enough. Minnesota, they just had a great game plan. They took away our 3 balls. It was weird because Fox had a great game. Vassell had an awesome game. Keldon Johnson was awesome. Dylan Harper was awesome. Just four of our basically star players, or some of our our high caliber players we expect to play good and score a lot of points. Those 4 guys, they played amazing. All 4 of those guys had amazing games, and you just see the difference between one team playing kind of a lot of ISO ball and not really moving the ball around very well. Yes, Fox, Vassell, Keldon, Dylan Harper all had great games, but then you see how Minnesota played, and most of their looks just came off of ball movement and assists, and the numbers don't lie. They had 35 assists. We had 17 assists, and even with De'Aaron Fox's amazing game, wasn't quite enough to win. It was almost enough, but then the fourth quarter came, and you know all their team basketball, their ball movement, it just caught up to our defense, and we weren't able to scramble and defend those 3 balls. But yeah, amazing game for De'Aaron Fox. He was great out there. Awesome game for Devin Vassell. His 3-point shooting was off, but 22 points on 10 for 20, 50% shooting. When Wemby's out, Stephon Castle's out, I pretty much want Devin Vassell to get 17 plus shots. So I love him shooting the ball out there. He's 1 for 9 from 3. Same thing with Vassell. Same thing with all of our 3-point shooters. He wasn't getting very high quality looks from 3. It's not like he was missing a bunch of wide open threes. Minnesotans did such a great job contesting our 3-point shooters. Vassell has 3 assists, only 1 turnover. He has 2 steals out there. Fox, Vassell, they had very good offensive games, very efficient, but just wasn't enough to beat Minnesota's team basketball. Keldon Johnson, I fucking love Keldon Johnson. He's been so great in his new role for the team. He has 22 points, 8 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds. He's 8 for 13, 2 for 4 from 3. He has the 2 steals. Defensively, I would have complaints about Keldon last season, the season before. Still happens a little bit this season, but he's been really focused defensively. Last season, he'd kind of lose focus, and people would get a backdoor cut, or he'd lose his man, and he would get back screen. His man has a wide open 3, but this season he's playing really, really physical defense. He's been really focused on defense. I'm not noticing those lapses defensively so much from Keldon. I noticed kind of when Keldon was younger, he would kind of get tunnel vision at times. I mentioned a lot of my videos. Let's say the ball's at the top of the 3-point line. Keldon's right here on the wing, and someone's in the corner. They pass the ball to Keldon. He catches it on the wing. Keldon has a pretty good look for a 3, but the obvious play is to pass it to the corner for the wide open 3, and Keldon catches it, and then maybe he hesitates for like 1 second, and then he takes the 3, and he still has a good 3 ball, but he should have passed the ball to the corner. I don't know if y'all noticed that with Keldon last season, the season before, when he was a bit younger, but this season he's doing a much better job of just making decisions really quickly, whether it's passing it to that corner 3 or just catching, immediately attacking the closeout and getting into the paint. And then he's just so efficient in the paint. He's so strong down there, and he finishes very strong, and he's been shooting the 3 ball pretty well these past few games. So I mean, I love Keldon. Keldon's been so great for us out there. He had an amazing game, 22 points on 8 for 13. So just great efficiency. Vassell, Fox, Keldon Johnson, all three of those guys had amazing games. Dylan Harper had an amazing game. He's 8 for 12, 17 points. No assists. He has the one steal. No turnovers, though. He's 0 for 2 from 3. If he didn't shoot any threes, he would have been 10 for 12. So Harper's amazing. Harper just gets into the paint whenever he wants. He looks like he's moving slow-mo, basically. Reminds me of Cade Cunningham. He reminds me of James Harden, the way he just slithers and gets into the paint. He went straight at Rudy Gobert 3 different times in the first half. He had one, he goes at him. He shoots a sweeping left-handed hook that was just fucking sick. He has another one. He goes up and shoots a sweeping right-handed hook. He had another play where he goes and just bumps Rudy Gobert with his shoulder, and he goes up and finishes with his right hand. If y'all remember the play, he kind of bumps Rudy, and he just snuck it in really quick before Rudy can get up to block the shot. So Dylan Harper is amazing. He's going to be so great for us. He finishes so strong in the paint. He has such great basketball IQ. Dylan Harper is a really willing passer. Usually he would have 14 points and maybe 3 or 4 assists, but this is like my 4th or 5th time saying it. I just have to give Minnesota all the credit. They did a great job defending our three-point shooters. We're missing Wemby. We're missing Castle. I think if we matched up against Minnesota in the playoffs, I think we can definitely beat Minnesota. I wouldn't be mad if anybody in Las Vegas favored Minnesota in the playoff series, because I think Minnesota would probably be favored against us for the betting public. It would probably be a close one, but I think we could definitely beat Minnesota in a playoff series. I think we are the more talented team than Minnesota when we're fully healthy, but it's just us building chemistry, getting De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Wemby, Stephon Castle to all play some minutes out there together, kind of learning what our rotations are going to be when our entire team is healthy. Because you saw with Minnesota, they just know what they're doing. They have such great chemistry. Their starters, their bench unit, they're just more of a veteran team. They're still younger, but they have great chemistry. They have some veteran guys on the team, and they know exactly what they want to do on offense. Pretty much every single play, where I've mentioned with our team, pretty much every video I mention it. Same thing with this game. We have no offensive identity. It's a lot of hero ball. This game was a really good example of it. You know, here's the ball, De'Aaron Fox, go make a play. And he did. He made a lot of awesome plays. He was really efficient. Here's the ball, Devin Vassell. Here's the ball, Keldon Johnson. Here's the ball, Dylan Harper. You guys go make an awesome play. And they made a fuckload of awesome plays. They played amazingly out there, but we don't have like an offensive system. We don't run a lot of motion off ball. When De'Aaron Fox is cooking, Vassell is cooking, Harper, whoever it is, when they're cooking with the ball, we don't have a lot of off-ball movement. Everyone's pretty stagnant off the ball. Where if you watch with Minnesota, even if Anthony Edwards isn't in the game, if Naz Reid is out, no matter who the lineup is they have in there, they have an offensive identity. They're always moving off the ball. Same thing with like Oklahoma City. I know Oklahoma City is just the cream of the crop. They're one of the greatest teams of all time. But Oklahoma City reminds me of almost like the 2014 Spurs team, where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in there on offense. You're still running the same system. Everything is pace and space. Everything is free flowing movement, free flowing off ball movement offensively, and you're playing an offensive system. Our 2014 Spurs team, we knew exactly what we were going to do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which players are in the game. We're running the same offensive system. Just like with OKC, it doesn't matter which players are in the game. They're running the exact same offensive system, and they have it pretty much perfected along with what they're going to do on defense. Where with San Antonio, we don't really have an offensive identity, and we don't have great chemistry defensively quite yet. We have a bunch of great defensive players, and like I said earlier, we just have bad communication on screens, a lot of miscommunications where it ends up in an open three, an open roll to the basket, and we do a bad job just swarming three-point shooters. You saw with Minnesota, when we were passing the ball around the perimeter, they would just scramble. They were having very good communication. They would just scramble and contest every three. We could not get an open three ball out there. That's why we shot 8 for 33. And then when Minnesota is moving the ball around, it's just the complete opposite story. We're just having all sorts of breakdowns on defense, and they're getting all of these open threes. So you can really see the difference between us and some of these more veteran teams that have been together for a few years and have an offensive identity and have better chemistry on defense because it's still a work in progress for our team. But I mean, we lost the game. I was still proud of how we played. Anthony Edwards has 32 points. He's 13 for 18, 7 turnovers. Say we did a great job on Anthony Edwards. The 7 turnovers is great. Ant-Man's amazing. He's one of the best players in the NBA. 32 on 13 for 18 is excellent efficiency. He's 4 for 6 from 3. Anthony Edwards, he cries to the officials a lot, so I don't like that. I noticed that a lot in this game, but I love Ant-Man. He's a raw basketball player. I'm proud of us for forcing him into 7 turnovers, though. Julius Randle, 22 points and 12 assists. I didn't realize Julius was such a great playmaker. He's really physical in the post. He has a good enough three ball. To keep you honest, Randle is plus 30. Watching the game, it felt like a lot of good things were happening for Minnesota when Julius Randle was on the court. What did Mike Conley do to us? Mike Conley, 4 assists, only 5 points. The 6 assists for Anthony Edwards, 3 assists for Naz Reid. It was just a real team effort from Minnesota, and we just couldn't keep up with them as a team. But I'm proud of I'm not proud that we lost, but I'm proud of our performance. We at least played decent defense. On Anthony Edwards, we had a lot of good things to take away from the game, and it's just going to be a learning game for the boys. Mitch Johnson has a bunch of tape defensively, offensively in this game to kind of tell the guys we should have done this, should have made this read, we should have made this rotation on defense, and we're just going to get better from this loss. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 7 million subscribers. Let me know what you thought about the Spurs performance, what we could have done better, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.